Traces of our origins are all around us, telling us where we come from and who we are today. UNESCO has collected 874 sites considered to be of such extraordinary significance they're worthy of the title World Heritage. Ilulissat Icefjord is Greenland's contribution to World Heritage, a natural phenomenon where for thousands of years the Greenland ice cap has carved icebergs that sail out through a 50-kilometre ice fjord. The glacier, deep inside the ice fjord, is called Icefjord and is one of the world's largest, a moving landscape of snow and ice. An enormous amount of Greenland's ice cap converges here, pressing itself down through the gulf and out into the ice fjord at a rate of 40 meters a day. Icefjord is the world's fastest glacier because it runs through a 1,000-meter deep gulf and gathers a speed unparalleled by ordinary glaciers. In fact, it flows 100 times faster. En route down through the chasm, the glacier tears open, and the dense layer of compressed snow from millennia of storms falls asunder like skyscrapers collapsing in an earthquake. And by the time it arrives at the mouth of the gulf, it's racing along. The noise of the gigantic icebergs breaking away is like 10 thunderstorms all together, so much sound pressure that microphones can't function. You can't see where Icefjord ends and the ice fjord begins. When the glacier breaks away from the mainland, it's transformed into a river of wreckage from the previously solid Icefjord. It becomes a grinding whirlpool of icebergs bigger than skyscrapers, ice floes, slush, rocks and gravel. The fjord is measured only in a few places, between 1,000 and 1,500 meters deep. Greenland is like a great big bowl full of ice which runs out through holes in the rim. Ilulissat Icefjord is one of the largest holes, with ice pouring out in a constant stream. The mouth of the ice fjord outside Ilulissat has a very low water level, so the icebergs run to ground and pile up until they break away in a turmoil. The iceberg bank, which was formed 8,000 years ago when the glacier ran all the way out here, dams the flow. Many enormous icebergs lie waiting to exit. It can take years. First they have to lose weight by melting in the water, and then they must be shaken loose by currents and tides. Meanwhile, all the smaller ice floes vanish out into Disco Bay, and the water lies open to fishermen in their dinghies. the Icefjord swarms with life. The melted water from the ice cap contains large amounts of nutrients, and the melting icebergs release air bubbles which oxygenate the water like a huge pump in a gigantic aquarium. For more than 4,000 years, the Icefjord has provided a livelihood for the local inhabitants. Today, small line fishing boats catch halibut, an expensive delicacy exported all over the world. And still one of Ilulissat's most important industries. Halibut is proof of the Icefjord as a natural phenomenon. You can taste it. And Ilulissat hotels serve grilled halibut with pickled angelica, surely meeting even the most discerning craving for organic food. The World Heritage Site is about 120 kilometers long and 40 wide and stretches from the iceberg bank in the west to the glacier Semek and the inland ice in the east. This part of World Heritage is managed by UNESCO site manager Naya Habermann.
Here we have the official sign marking the beginning of the UNESCO area. Above here, the UNESCO logo clearly indicates when one may come in and go out. The next sign stands over there, and then another over there and one there. Then there is a whole string of cairns marking the border.
There's free access to the area. One can pitch a tent, spend the night, light a fire, and buy hunting and fishing licenses. Exceptions are archaeological sites in the settlement of Minut, where marked footpaths should be followed. From the foothills at Minut, there's an unobstructed view of the marooned iceberg on the iceberg bank. Scientists have known about the Icefjord for 150 years, but it only came to tourists' attention after it was listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2004.
We are in the Arctic. Towns are few and far between, and we are very few people. Therefore, the many tourists visiting Greenland have a strong impact on its nature, particularly on plant life and topsoil. Huge problems in the Arctic because of the short summer growth period. Temperatures are low, plants do not have much time to regrow, and there is so little earth in some places that once it is gone, plants cannot grow back. Here you can see a very clear example of how normal pedestrian movement can affect Arctic nature. This footpath is 3 years old. It was staked. Before that it was completely unspoiled nature. Now there's a 2-meter wide path where plants will never regrow again. They only have 2 months every year to grow, and that is not enough.
Boardwalks have been built in the busiest stretch between Ilulissat and the foothills at Minut in order to protect the landscape against erosion. At the same time making hiking in the landscape more comfortable and not least more secure. But if people choose to hike outside the paths, which as said is allowed, then they're on their own and must cope just like Greenlanders.
It is important for people who move about in this area to understand that they are completely on their own. Cell phones cannot be relied on to function, and if you break a leg just 1 kilometer away, there is no assurance someone will come to find you. You should be on the safe side if you wear suitable clothes and footwear, take some food, and tell people where you're going.
And so there are icebergs, which is what you come to experience.
In fact, an iceberg is very deceptive and completely unreliable. It can overturn in a matter of seconds, creating enormous waves which come faster than you can see them. And there have been accidents here and in other places along the coast where tourists and locals are killed by being towed out to sea by these waves.
Here's some private footage of the wave from an overturned iceberg. Luckily, the people in the boat in the middle of the picture escaped, but it could just as easily have gone wrong.
As we're not so fond of rules and regulations in Greenland, it means that we make them only when absolutely necessary in the name of security or of protecting nature. So we ask all our visitors to follow the few rules there are. They are not meant to annoy or curtail, but simply to make sure that everyone has a wonderful stay here and enjoys our beautiful Icefjord. Should you need to answer a call of nature when you go for a walk along the Icefjord, just remember this: it will be there forever. So it should be taken back to the town, and this applies to all other waste. In addition, the following rules and advice apply to everybody. Go where you want, but keep to the paths if you want to be safe. Do not stray from the marked paths at the archaeological diggings in Semermute village. Camping is allowed for 24 hours at a time. Hunting and fishing licenses should be purchased. Trucks, cars, motorcycles, scooters are not allowed. Cycling is not allowed.